Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. So welcome, everybody. We have a good size agenda to make our way through and like to get started. So as usual, I'm not looking at my agenda, but anyway, so what I'm wondering is if we could get started with the Pledge of Allegiance, please, Casey.
We can. I'm going to call roll really quickly.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Please call roll.
Just to be official.
Okay, thanks.
Chair Morris.
Here.
Vice Chair Corrigan.
Here.
Commissioner Valadez.
Here.
Commissioner Wang previously expressed that she would be absent, and Commissioner Yeh.
Present.
We have 4 commissioners in attendance, and that does meet our quota. Now I will start for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Perfect. Thank you.
Please feel free to join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So now I'm wondering if we have any public comments for items not on the agenda.
Yes, we do. Hold on, I'm with my son here. Give me 1 second.
Okay. So is it just one person, Casey? Do you know?
I don't have any hands raised yet. So if
so
we've only
please
had,
raise your hand if you do have an item that you'd like to bring up that's not on the agenda.
Perfect.
So that Casey can see you, that you want to speak.
So Logan, are you the one that just spoke and said, yes, you wanted to speak?
That's his dad. I'm Standish. This is
Okay.
Logan.
Okay.
Okay.
So I actually let Logan kick it off.
Give me
and
just
I'll-
1 second and I'll put up the 3-minute timer if that is, if you think that is appropriate, Chair Morris.
Yes, that's perfect. 3 minutes is perfect.
Great.
Thank you.
Logan, you can sit down and
And you may begin.
My name's Logan Mooley. I have many passions. One of those passions being chess. When I play chess, I feel like I get to know other people better. But over the time in my chess experiences at my school, Covington, I haven't been playing as many different people. So I think doing this chess get together in downtown Los Altos would really allow people to play different people. Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Logan, for that. And so
I'll take the rest of the time just real quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Commission, for hearing Logan out. He's passionate about chess, and the idea that he had, which I thought was a great idea, was to have kind of a Los Altos community chess tournament on the streets of downtown Los Altos, and then in the Veterans Plaza. So have it in like the spring or summer, where we could invite anybody in the community to, and we could have it organized where people play each other, maybe a tournament style for some type of prize, or just casual meetup, pick up a chessboard and have some tables and chairs set up for the community, depending on how many people come out to play chess. So I think it will be a good way to bring the community together. And secondly, be good for the vitality of downtown Los Altos. And a good way to kind of exercise those brain muscles in a game that I'm not good at. My son is very good at. So just want to propose that idea to the commission. I had shared it with one of the council members, and she had suggested that we come speak to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for our speaker? Okay, it looks like Commissioner Valadez does.
Hello, and thank you for having your son speak and for following up with some more information. A question: do you or your son have any experience in any other city where they have done such a thing? If so, can you point us in the direction of that city? You don't have to give us any details, just point us in the direction of that city so that we can follow up?
I haven't specifically done any chess events in any city or I'm personally aware of. However, there are lots of cities, like you look at New York City, they've got casual chess games set up in the streets and whatnot. I have organized community events with the city before on the downtown green and other places, so have experience in terms of running events with the city.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions from okay, Commissioner Ye, please.
Yeah, I heard your son mention that he's having trouble finding people to play with. Well, what's the cause of that? Because it seems like it's a big hobby right now with amongst the young people.
Yeah, certainly there are people in his chess club he can play with, and then he can play online. But sort of human to human, face to face, now that we're kind of through the thick of the pandemic, would be nice. And the other thing is, we walk around downtown Los Altos a lot, and really the thought was, hey, how can we engage more with other community members, which you normally wouldn't necessarily engage with. And a good way to do that is playing a game of chess with you, Young. If you play chess, like, we would have never connected, and if we play a game of chess, we get to know each other, maybe share some stories. Or with you, Janine, if you play chess. So it's kind of a mechanism for the community to connect, more so than anything.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. And also, I guess if you play online, it kind of, you don't know if the person's cheating or not nowadays.
Yeah, maybe they're using ChatGPT for their next move.
All right,
Great.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from commissioners?
Anything else, Logan?
No.
Okay, I do have one question. Could you please send the commissioners, the Park and Rec commissioners, an email with your contact information if that's amenable to you, so that we have a way of getting a hold of you?
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much. That'd be greatly appreciated.
Great.
If
Thank
it's
you.
easier, you can send that directly to me and I can make sure that they all get that.
And Casey, do you want to give them your email, the best
I can-
email for that?
I can do that. So my email is crichardson@losaltosca.gov.
And then
It's
she'll
also
forward
on
it
the
to me.
website.
Oh,
My contact information is everywhere online.
great. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be easy to find you.
Perfect. Thank you for being here at the meeting and having your son speak. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. And he was a little nervous, but this was also a good practice.
He did a great job.
And
the
being a
email's
future
gonna be more.
commissioner or council person.
Yeah, that's it. We love it. All right. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Thank you. Bye now.
Take care. Bye. Okay. Any other hands raised or any hands raised for items not on the agenda, Casey?
There are not currently any other hands raised.
Okay.
If we want to give it just a second, because we do have a number of members of the public,
Mhm.
but I do not see any hands going up.
Okay, great. So thank you for checking for that. All right, so the next item is minutes. To have the minutes approved, or if anybody has any comments about them. Any commissioners have any concerns or corrections for the minutes? I'm not seeing any. So
I
we
move
need
to
to,
approve.
yes, you heard that, Casey?
I did. Yep.
Okay,
Do we
good.
have a second?
I'm happy to second.
Okay. And I can just do a quick roll call vote. Chair Morris,
Yes.
Vice Chair Corrigan,
Yes.
Commissioner Valadez,
Yes.
and Commissioner Ye.
Yes.
Okay, so that is approved unanimously.
Great. Next, on the agenda, we have the outdoor fitness equipment presentation. And are they here?
Yes, so that would be Jenny, if you want to make yourself visible. Perfect.
So Chair Morris, if I might introduce this
Yes, please.
item, thank you. So Manny Hernandez, Parks and Recreation Director, and so with this item, what the commission requested and staff wants to do as well is go over with our scheduled replacement that's coming up of our outdoor fitness equipment that we have scheduled for replacement here at the community center. So with that, we wanted to investigate and see what fitness equipment, outdoor fitness equipment is available to us. There are many different types out there from what we've seen, and some commissioners may have done some research too and noticed that. And so in the upcoming commission meetings, what we've decided to do, and the subcommittee, working with the subcommittee on the outdoor fitness equipment, decided that that would be desirable is to see what's out there, see what's available. And this would be the first in a series of presentations that we'll have from outdoor fitness companies. This one being, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jenny, Outdoor Fit Exercise Systems. Okay.
Yeah.
And so from Outdoor Fit Exercise Systems, Jenny Lewis is here to represent them, and hopefully they can give us this presentation to show us their style of product and how it's used. And then the commission could, if they have any questions on it, ask Jenny some questions at that point. So thank you, Jenny. I'll hand it over to you now.
Fantastic. So it's all right with everybody if I share my screen? And I was told I have exactly 10 minutes, no more. Is that correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
you have, the presentation is 10 minutes, but after that questioning, that'll be up to the commission. So the
Okay,
presentation is 10 minutes.
So then what I'll do is yeah, we can just save then questions until the end, if that works for everybody, just so I'm not yeah, going through all right, so let me just make sure this, all right, so everybody can see this screen, I believe. Alrighty, I shall get started, and I guess my 10 minutes is rolling. So Outdoor Fit was started by John Lewis in 2003, and John comes from a commercial fitness background. So he owned a dozen commercial retail fitness stores on the east coast of Canada, where he was a fitness dealer for all the major indoor brands like Precor, Matrix, Life Fitness, for example. And he was taking his kids to the playground in the early 2000s, and him loving fitness and being in the fitness business would be trying to get a workout on the play structure as he watched over his kids. At the time, you could do some pull-ups and some dips on the monkey bars, and he thought how great it would be if 40, 50 feet away from the play structure was an outdoor multi-gym. So he started developing prototypes, and he started developing prototypes and with a welder friend of his, and finally had this unit here on the top right corner was his first multi-gym that he took to NRPA in 2008. So we tell the story just as a bit of background to the company, as John's experience in commercial fitness is a key design element of our philosophy to outdoor fitness. So this is a snapshot of our installation map here on the left. Really what this does a great job of highlighting are the various weather climates where our equipment has been installed. As you can see, everything from Arctic, northern installations to desert and coastal installations as well, a true testament to the durability of our equipment. So our equipment looks different, and that's because it is different. We do not build playground equipment for adults. We build commercial grade indoor fitness equipment that's built for an outdoor environment that's completely tamper-proof, completely weatherproof, very rugged, and it's very low maintenance. We're also really proud to build and manufacture all of our equipment on the east coast of Canada. So 3 key design philosophies of our equipment is real exercise, as I've touched on. So all of our outdoor fitness equipment has a commercial grade indoor equivalent. Second, our equipment is very compact and space efficient. And our third key element is our equipment is built tough and it's built to last. So we have installations in some of the world's toughest climates and environments, and it's been able to really withstand those environments and climates. And so therefore, we're able to offer a 15-year warranty on our outdoor fitness equipment. So all of our equipment is built from heavy duty steel and aluminum. This is a snapshot into our welding shop in our warehouse. From the weld shop, our equipment goes to a multi-step paint process, as you can see here. Our equipment is sandblasted with super durable polyester powder, which is the highest quality paint available. It's what top quality playground equipment is painted with. And it's very, very resilient to all outdoor climates like like salt spray, high heat, and high UV rays. So something you may find kind of surprising is our largest market is corrections. We're the leading supplier of correctional fitness equipment in the United States and Canada. We have installations in over 500 facilities. And in these facilities, we're told that our equipment is seeing use 10 to 12 hours a day. Inmate populations are just cycled in and out. And for various reasons, our equipment needs to be extremely durable and tamper-proof and have no removable parts in order to withstand this type of environment. So obviously a very different environment compared to a public park. But in terms of the features that are needed to withstand an unsupervised environment like a park and various weather climates that you would get in your city, obviously there's some key similarities there. So I've kind of mentioned that all of our equipment is designed after indoor commercial fitness equipment. So this video just kind of showcases those exact similarities. All of our stations really do have an indoor equivalent, and this video does show exactly that. And this is a video I can send to you all after, just for sake of time. I won't show the entire thing, but I hope you kind of get a snapshot of the point it's trying to convey. So now we'll jump into our products. We manufacture 7 different products. I understand only 6 are shown here. I will show the 7th one later in the presentation. We manufacture 5 multi-gyms, 1 cardio climber, and 1 stretching and recovery unit. So our first product is the Apollo Multi-Gym. This is our flagship feature-packed unit. It can accommodate 5 simultaneous users and offers over 19 different exercises. First station on this is our adjustable back extension bench, which is this video right here. As you can see, it's adjustable to accommodate different heights of people, just like you find in an indoor gym. Another station is our 16-inch plyo box, where there's dozens of functional fitness exercises that can be done. We have our unique 100-pound adjustable weight stack with a high and low pulley system, which I'll touch on again in a bit. Our assist mechanism for our dip and pull-up station, which is very unique to outdoor fit. And then on the back side, we have our calf raise and abdominal vertical knee raise. So this is our high-low pulley station. This is a 100-pound adjustable weight stack in 10-pound increments. So exactly like you have in an indoor gym, except it's ASTM compliant to the outdoor fitness standard. So it's very safe and can be used in a supervised environment. For example, when this is a 1/2-inch thick bulletproof Lexan gate. When this Lexan gate is shut as is, the station can be utilized as so. As soon as this Lexan gate is even lifted up about a 1/2 inch, it triggers a locking lever on this weight stack. So as Derek is changing the weight here, he's putting his fingers in the selector pin, and this, by the way, travels up and down a security track, so that selector pin cannot be removed. So as he's changing this weight, someone cannot come behind him and pull on the low pulley system, and that in turn that would potentially, if you get his fingers caught in there, so the locking lever we have on this weight stack eliminates all entrapment areas, crush zones, so that when Derek's changing the weight, he doesn't have to worry about getting his fingers caught in there. That has been eliminated by the locking lever on the weight stack. So this weight stack system is on our Apollo Multi-Gym, which is this unit here. It's also on our Versa high-low pulley system, which is just a standalone, very compact high-low pulley system. These are the various exercises we list on the instructional placards on the Versa and the Apollo. The next unit that I'd like to talk about is the Helios Multi-Gym. The Helios is our original multi-gym. It accommodates 4 simultaneous users and has over 11 different exercises. It has all the same stations as the Apollo, just without the high-low pulley station. The one station I do want to highlight here is our unique assist mechanism. So in an indoor fitness, in about over 90% of the population actually cannot do a pull-up with their own body weight. So this assist arm has 4 settings, 4 adjustments, and it can take away 60 pounds, 80 pounds, 100 pounds, or 120 pounds of the user's body weight. And an assisted chin up and dip station is very common in an indoor commercial fitness center. So what this does is it allows users who may not have as much upper body strength to actually be able to use this station. What we find is in outdoor fitness equipment, there are a lot of pull-up bars, there are a lot of monkey bars and climbing bars, which are great if you're that small percentage of the population that can actually use that station and actually do those exercises with your own body weight. Our next product is the Helios NA Multi-Gym, which is has the Helios Multi-Gym without the assist arm. So this multi-gym has no moving parts and is at a bit of a slighter price discount than the Helios Multi-Gym, as we found that some park departments just wanted an option with 0 moving parts. Our cardio climber is really a unique piece of fitness equipment. It's at the same angle as running up and down a flight of stadium stairs, but the movement is like an elliptical machine. So you'll see it here. There are no electronic components in it. The resistance and intensity of the workout is determined by the user's cadence and force and stride length that they put on the foot pad. So as Derek is the guy on the Everest, as he starts to move quicker, his heels lift up and he's going more at a cardio, really elevating his heart rate, what we would call a HIIT methodology, which is this cardio mode here that we list on the placard. As he elongates his stride lengths, he's doing more of the strength mode, targeting more the thighs and the glutes. So a little bit different than the cardio mode. But this is a really awesome.
Jenny, so sorry. I was just going to give you a 2-minute warning.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so yeah, that is the Everest. Our last product is the Flex Multi-Stretch. So we designed the Flex Multi-Stretch in consultation with a chiropractor. So all of the fixed anchor points here have been designed to offer stretching that she would suggest to her patients. We also have a really unique integrated rubber roller. So it's a durable rubber roller that's fixed to the unit, just like an indoor gym where you use a roller for cool down, warm up, or if you're really just trying to do some deep tissue release on sore muscle. On our instructional placards, we have 18 different lower body, upper body, and rolling stretching movements. On all of our units, we have instructional placards. The instructional placards have some literature, some brief bullet points, but also the QR codes lead to these how-to videos that have just more detailed instructions on how to do how to perform the movements. Coming out this quarter, we will have full-on fitness programming, so actual workouts that will be accessible through a QR code on the equipment, so that people will have access to programming and workouts just in the palm of their hand that they can do on the equipment. Sorry. And now we'll just jump into 2 of our showcases. This is a country club we did in Florida, which really just showcases some customized equipment. As you can see, they painted it in their, or we painted it for them in their black and gold colors, and they installed a couple of Everest, a Helios, and the Apollo Multi-Gym, and we think it looks pretty sharp and does a really great job of just kind of showcasing the customization and real exercise features of our equipment. And then last but not least, this is a little installation we did at an apartment complex in Philadelphia, just a really outside of their indoor fitness center. So just a cool way to kind of show off our equipment. And that is it. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening.
Thank you, Jenny. I'll finish her presentation just with a few recommendations here. So first of all, just want to remind the commission, no decisions are being made here. This is basically for a part of our educational process. This will hopefully help the subcommittee make recommendations, and also help the commission as a whole act on those recommendations once we go into that process of replacement. Also of note, the location, I know we're taking out one fitness area that we have some equipment. We'll be removing that old equipment, but the actual location of replacement still hasn't been decided. Subcommittee will review that as well. And in these vendors, more in-depth questioning could be done once we narrow down which direction we want to go. As you'll see over the process of hearing these presentations, equipment varies. It's different systems, and this system here that's being shown to us by Outdoor Fit is just one of a few different styles of resistance training that we could put out into our park. So Jenny, thank you. And Chair Morse, I hand it off to you now again.
Thank you. Yes, Jenny, thank you for being here. And I'm wondering if any of the commissioners have any questions for Jenny, keeping in mind everything that Director Hernandez just said. This is, you know, a presentation on an educational level. So if you have any questions for Ms. Lewis, raise your hand or let us know, flag, you know, wave. Anybody have any questions? Okay, Commissioner Valadez.
I have two questions, unrelated. First one is, I saw the manufacturing mini video. Is this product manufactured here in the United States?
No, it's manufactured in Nova Scotia, Canada.
Say it again.
It's manufactured in Nova Scotia, Canada.
Thank you. And then the second question is, it can be generalized, but it can also be specific for your product. What kind of, you know, it is intended to be adult fitness equipment, correct?
Yes, 13 plus.
So what height from shortest to tallest in general do these particular products tend to satisfy?
In any height, we have, just for one example, two of my colleagues, one is 5'5", one is 6'5". Because our equipment has adjustability in it, it can accommodate any type of height. That's kind of the unique thing about it, is that it doesn't fit just one user. It can fit people of all different heights.
Okay, thank you.
Any other commissioners, any questions? Oh, Vice Chair Corrigan, please.
Thank you, Chair Morris, and thank you, Ms. Lewis. I was impressed with the capabilities of the equipment you presented. A couple of questions I had. I thought it sounded like the impetus or the inspiration for this equipment originally was so that parents could be close to children while they're both, like, you know, children are playing, the parents can exercise. So I was kind of curious, the equipment, I mean, what's the safety factor here? I mean, would there have to be set back from children's equipment X feet to be safe? Because it feels like there's, I don't know, rounded corners. I don't know how safe the equipment is relative to what you find in a child's playground. Are there any limitations about placing those adjacent to each other?
Yeah, great question. No, there is not. With the ASTM safety standard for outdoor fitness equipment, there is an amount of space that's required for a piece of equipment. So they're what we call the training envelope, which is kind of the 3 feet around the unit. And then there's the usage zone. And that usage zone, technically to fall with an ASTM safety standard, there just can't be another piece of fitness equipment or any other thing that would obstruct the usage space within that, that area. So it has nothing to do with like the proximity to a playground. It just has to, the only kind of consideration you have to account for is that there's nothing in that usage zone. So that means that there's ample room for people to move around. And really, you know, playground equipment, there's a lot of like metal and steel used. So it's kind of the same type of thing. ASTM safety standard, you need to have a safety surfacing, especially in California. It is required for outdoor fitness equipment. So the safety surfacing does provide that kind of, well, that safety and that reassurance for if there's a fall height. So falling off the equipment, you're not falling onto concrete, you're falling onto a rubber surfacing that is used for playgrounds. So those are some of the safety features.
Thank you. The only other question I had was sort of the the maintenance of that equipment? Because it looked, I did see, you seem to have sort of enclosures to cover, I don't know, pulleys, but is it all, it's all designed to handle like windy debris getting in and having to oil things all the time? I mean, I always thought indoor gym equipment took a lot of maintenance. So I was wondering, is it worse outdoors, or what's the
No,
maintenance effort required?
Yeah, and you would think, because our equipment is so similar to indoor equipment, but there's only one station on all of our equipment that will need any type of, let's call it frequent maintenance. And when I say frequent, I say once a year. And that is the cables in that high-low police station. So to give you some context, in our high-use correctional facilities that see, 15 hours of use 24/7, they are replacing a cable maybe once a year. We've had outdoor installations in Nova Scotia, Canada, in a corporate campus that have been installed for 6 years, and it's never needed a cable replacement. It's never needed any type of maintenance, and that's just because it's a factor of use. So if you have one of our multi-gyms that is all body weight stations, you're looking at technically zero maintenance. That's one of the unique things about our equipment, and one of the reasons we've been so successful in corrections is because of how low maintenance our equipment is, and how little replacing there really is to do. It's really just that cable that you would be looking at maybe once every year, once every 2 years.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? I don't see anybody else. So I do have a question for you. Do you have any systems that have accessibility features to them? So if somebody's in a wheelchair.
So our high-low police system right now is the only station that is accessible to someone in a wheelchair. We hopefully will have more coming out within the year. But right now, out of the products I showed you, it's only the high-low police system on our Apollo and our Versa that is accessible to someone in a wheelchair.
Okay, and thank you. And somewhere on the equipment, do you have the age listed?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, so on our placards, we recommend like this is to be used by 13+. We have a warning placard on it as well, just so people know like this isn't, to be climbed on or just encouraging proper usage.
Okay. And your videos show a lot of, sort of more young, fit people on them. Have you done any research with seniors on this equipment and how it works for them?
Yeah, I can actually send you, if you would like, a couple other videos where we have seniors using our equipment. We've received a lot of feedback from seniors, and seniors love it. There's one installation that I'm thinking of that is on an ideal walking trail in Halifax, and seniors are seen using it all the time. It's very, very senior friendly. There's lots of various grip points for them to hold on to. There's tread on the plyo box, for example, and like the weight system as well. That's just what seniors need to be able to, maintain their muscle mass and keep that mobility and independence that they need as they age.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I don't have any other questions myself. I don't see any hands up with commissioners. We appreciate you being here and fully understanding, that you're here with an education aspect to this as we meet other vendors too. So I appreciate your time this evening meeting with us.
So much for the opportunity. It was great.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. So with that, I believe we're ready to move on to number 3 on the agenda, which is the Hetch Hetchy pathway update.
Sure, Chair Morris, I can handle setting that up. And this is
Thank
just
you.
this is an update on the Hetch Hetchy trail pathway that goes through Los Altos, the city of Los Altos, and is owned by the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission. And this relates to the vegetation management plan. So the pipeline, the water pipeline that serves over 1 million people in the San Francisco area goes through that trail, and through a recently executed license agreement with the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission, the city of Los Altos is able to keep that pathway and that trail open for public usage. And currently it is AC paved for bikes down the middle. And many people use it as a connection to the city of Palo Alto as well across Adobe Creek. So with this recently executed license agreement, the SFPUC is mandating that the vegetation management policy that they have established be adhered to, starting with cutbacks and clearings of some of the more invasive trees, basically, vegetation that's over or near their pipeline, the pipeline that takes the water through. So that water transmission line there's two purposes for cutting back and removing of some of the vegetation and trees. And that is anything directly over or within a certain distance of the pipeline. And this is also overhead clearance for access in maintenance situations and possibly emergencies that they need to get access. So with this plan has been reviewed at a council meeting in the past. There was also a public meeting here at the community center, speaking to the neighbors that are immediately adjacent to the trail that is in the city of Los Altos. And it was discussed what the plan was going to look like. And with that, part of the execution of that licensing agreement, the city of Los Altos representatives, myself included, for the city of Los Altos met with representatives of FPUC out on site, and we went through and confirmed markings on removals and also gave direction on overhead clearance and trimmings that will be done. What is probably more of an impact at this time are the tree and vegetation removals that will be done. And the city actually walked through with their staff and marked them. Currently, as seen in the report that's included in this packet, the city walked the pathway and updated the removal trimming plan that was done, I think it was about 3 years ago. And we marked it with white dots. We've updated them. And actually, as a result of that review and that walkthrough, no tree removals were added to the plan that was initially laid out pre-COVID. In fact, some trees were taken off the list and will remain in place through discussion on the need to remove, and also the city's desire to make it a minimal impact in removals. So those white dots on the trees that you will see out on the pathway signify the removals. In addition, some large trees that have a canopy extending over the pipeline will require pruning, as I earlier stated. So with that aerial clearance that's needed, as outlined in the vegetation management plan. So at this time, the city council will get one more opportunity to review the final plan for scheduling of these tree removals and pruning work. And all work must be completed by the city within the 270 days as outlined in the license agreement, which is approximately 9 months, I think, as required by the recently executed license agreement with the SFPUC. So this is basically mandated by them for the land that they own and that we are able to use through this license agreement. So with that, that concludes my report and my update. Thank you, Chair Morris.
Thank you for that. So commissioners, at this point, you have the opportunity to ask clarifying questions if you'd like, and then it'll go to public comment. So if you have any clarifying questions, raise your hand, wave your hand. Anybody have any questions? I've not seen. Oh, Commissioner Valdez.
Sorry.
That's all right. No, that's what you have a right to do this.
When you were doing the walking, my understanding was that you had members of the public tagging along. Did I remember that correctly?
Not in the recent walkthrough to re-tag. I think members of the public have walked through with staff. I've walked through with some members of the public. I believe the city manager, Gabe England, has walked through with some members of the public to show them the markings. And like I said, the updated markings basically did not change in favor of removals. So.
Okay, so, but in the latest one with the SFPUC, not. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any clarifying questions? Commissioners, I should clarify that. I don't see any other hands. So at this point, Casey, do we have any members of the public that wish to speak on this item?
I have, oh, okay.
And if you, members of the public, it's really helpful if you raise your virtual hand if possible, so that we can call on you in order, and also so we know how many speakers there are. So let's give you a second, raise your virtual hand, please, if you're here to speak on this, this topic. And also, as you're raising your hand, I'll let you know that commissioners will be able to ask you questions, but they won't be making comments about your comments. They'll just be able to ask you questions. So do we have any virtual hands now, Casey?
Still
Can
do
you
not,
remind everybody how to raise their hand?
Oh, well, usually it'll be at the bottom of your screen, perhaps under chat
No, it's under reactions.
or under reactions, depending on what device you have. Sometimes
Yeah.
it'll be in the upper right-hand corner. So, but
So
if you
I
can't
do have
figure it
one.
out, go ahead, Casey.
I do have one person. I suspect he's unmuted, so I suspect Todd is the person who's been talking
Yes.
previously. Is that correct, Todd?
Yes, thank you, Casey.
Great. So at this point, I only have one, Chair Morris. If you'd like me to go ahead and give him 3 minutes, I can do
Yes,
that.
please. Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Give me just a second, Todd. I will start your timer and then you can go ahead and speak.
Okay, great, thank you. So it's great that we've gotten to this point, and it's very gratifying to hear that less trees are going to be cut down than we thought. So that's very encouraging. A lot of people have stopped me on the bike path and said, "Hey, are you going to the meeting tonight to get an update?" And it would be very helpful to make it easy for all the people who use the bike path to see what the impact's really going to be. You said there are white dots on the trees. So that's interesting. I walked the path again just tonight and didn't notice that. So if you can clarify that after these comments, that would be great. If you can give us an idea of the time frame of when they're going to start to remove the trees and when they expect that to be completed. And then the third question that I get a lot is, how will the trail be maintained going forward? Will there be quarterly trimming of the grasses and all the things that make it very difficult, the foxtails that are difficult for all of us with pets? Is that going to be quarterly, yearly, bi-yearly, whatever? What's the maintenance plan? And is there something online going to be published that shows what trees will be removed? Those are the three things for me. Thank you. I'll yield the rest of the time.
Thank you so much for being here and for your input into this topic. And we appreciate it. Okay, so do any commissioners have any questions for our speaker? I'm not seeing anything. Okay, great. So as I mentioned, we can't make comments, but Director Hernandez, yes, please.
Could I get the speaker, please, to repeat? I didn't catch that first one. The dots on the trees, on clarification of that. You said something else, and then you said maintenance. What was the other one? I'm sorry.
So some way to make the dots on the trees more visible, or give us some indication, like if there are 27 trees that have dots, it would be great to know that. So as we walk the path, we can go, gee, I only found 4. I guess I must have missed many of them, because everybody's interested. I'm sure you have some idea based on the interest that people have shown in this. So making it easy to see the dots on the trees, giving us a count somewhere on the website or some information. If there was a picture or diagram that showed roughly, here's the path and here's where the trees are that are going to be removed. And then the second point, so that's the visibility of the trees that'll be removed. Second point is the timing, when you expect it to begin and when you expect it to end, and what the maintenance plan is going to be ongoing. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you for clarifying those. So, Director Hernandez, we aren't allowed to make, have comments on it. And so I guess my only question is there a way for, and this is to you, Director Hernandez, for people to get this information online for the ongoing project?
Yeah, Chair Morris, thank you. Yeah, I would recommend that we finish all the public comments and
Got
then
it. Thank you.
I can answer what I can at the end.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay. Again, thank you for being here, Todd. And I thought I noticed another hand, Casey. That was a
Todd was the
female.
only hand I've seen
Merchant
raised.
was the last name, I think, maybe.
Yeah, I saw him too.
Yeah, her last name was Merchant. Karen Merchant had her hand up, but I guess maybe it's down now. Okay. Okay, so I don't see any other hands for this topic.
Okay, so Chair Morris, if I might,
Yes.
with the closure of the public comment, I can address what I can on this, on some of the questions that the public had. First off, the dots on the trees, we'll do what we can to make them a little more visible. Right now, you do have to dig in because some of those trees are buried behind some of the growth. We don't know the current count. But we'll look into it and see if we can't get that total number. Although we've found that getting a total number really isn't as helpful as really trying to see it. As far as a diagram, that also reflects that. Seeing it on a diagram doesn't really show the impact because some of the surrounding trees that are in that area may lessen it or may increase it. But we will look into seeing what we can do for something like that. And then timing, that is something I definitely can answer right now. Once again, this has to go to council one more time in some format because we will be looking for funds to pay for the removal by a contractor, a professional contractor. And then also the maintenance. That is a very good question, and thank you for the member of the public who posed that, because that is something that I'm prepared to answer, and I neglected to mention in my report. Is the maintenance will be reviewed once the clearings have been made. So what we hope to do is there will be an impact with these removals and with some of the clearance. And with that, we would like to actually bring it back to the commission and work with the public, especially the surrounding neighbors, to see what kind of plan we can have in the vegetation management policy that the SFPUC has. They actually have recommendations for plantings that can go in, that is safe, and at what distance they can go in. And once we get an idea of what's needed after the clearance, I think we'll work on actually more plantings in that area. So that's what the hope is, and we hope the commission and the public definitely weigh in on those things. And with that, once we have a plan to go forward, we'll know more about the maintenance and how we're going to maintain those areas, because hopefully we can choke out some of the things that we don't want there, the weeds and otherwise. But for now, we have upped our maintenance from annually to semi-annually, and we're looking at maybe adding another general mowing, which was done, I believe, this week. My crew went out there and mowed the area, and hopefully we can get them down before the foxtails become really annoying. But yeah, we do plan on doing just a little more wide trimming right now. Once we get some other plantings in there, we'll reevaluate how often and what actually we do to keep the maintenance on that pathway. So that's hopefully that kind of outlines everything. But we will look into maybe making the trees more evident so people can review them, and then see what we can do to get that message out to the public on scheduling as well.
Great, thank you for covering all of that. And I think it's important maybe at this point, Casey, if we give out the email address for people to be able to sign up for receiving notification of our meetings, so that they can look at the notifications, the emails that come out, and see when this topic is on again. And I'd say the same for city council meetings. It would be helpful if people are interested in this topic or other ones to be on the mailing list.
So absolutely, they can go to the city's website, which is losaltosca.gov, and sign up for a number of mailing lists that include city council, the Parks and Recreation newsletter, the Parks and Recreation Commission, any and all commissions. There are so many updates that they can receive via email. They can also send me a message. So my email is very accessible, and if they just tell me what they want to receive, I'm happy to help people sign up if it's a little too much to do that sign up process on their own.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, because we have some really fun events that the Park and Recreation Department puts out, so it's nice to have those mailings. All right, thank you for that. I think that's it. We close out that topic. So number 3, moving on to number 4. So discussion on the permanent dog park in Hillview. Director Hernandez, this is yours to get started.
Sure. Thank you, Chair Morris. Yes, so to be honest with the commission, I was hoping to have some more meat in for you all on this topic for this session, but it will give me an opportunity to give you an update on where we are in the process. So for the background, City Council approved and funded the planning of a permanent off-leash dog park at the Hillview Park site. The permanent fence and dog park location will be in the 16 parking lot across from the south of the library parking lot. And with the installation of the permanent dog park, the temporary dog park, or some people call Dog Run, will be removed at that time. That's located at the east end of the soccer field. So what I hope for discussion, or actually answer any questions, I will give you an update and outline the plan for bringing in a consultant to start working on the plans for the permanent dog park. I have reached out to a consultant already. I'll keep them unnamed at this moment. But yeah, we have a consultant and their expertise in what we need for this process, which will be a public process that they will take us on through, that will include everything from surveys to public meetings, to working with the commission and working with the staff to get all the ideas out there and hopefully fill the needs for that new dog park. So that process, ideally, once I can get an agreement with this consultant, ideally we'll start next month. Like I was saying, I was hoping to have something to come in this meeting, but that's the update right now. If we can start in March, and that will not be at least the advisement of the consultant, and I happen to agree with what their direction is. It will not be through the commission meetings. It will be individual meetings that are focused on the dog park, much like as Chair Morris and I were discussing earlier, much like has been done in the past. That will be like neighborhood meetings, or what they're terming workshops, to get the information and to decipher it and spit it back out to the public and make sure that we get what we're looking for. So the process is tentatively scheduled to begin in March, and at least the tentative schedule that was provided to me by the consultant hopefully will be ready for council consumption in August. So if there's any questions, or I'm sure there's some stuff I missed, I'm here.
Thank you. Commissioners, any clarifying questions? It looks like Vice Chair Corrigan's hand is up.
Thank you, Chair Morris and Director Hernandez. My question was on the market research side of the equation with the consultant. And, as you know, with the market research subcommittees working with staff on getting a survey to quantify interest in certain attributes of a dog park at Hillview. And so I'm wondering if the consultant could play a great role in workshops in, defining the universe of features and, attributes that would inform a quantitative survey. So I'm just trying to understand the market research approach. Typically, you do these workshops and focus groups as a foundational work before doing a more rigorous quantitative study, like a direct mailer to all of the 1,000 households we're talking about with this other market research tool. So curious how the two intersect, how the tool will work with the consultant, how that will be joined together.
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Corrigan. Yes, that is definitely something that needs to be discussed with the consultant, because that's the question I have for them, really, is how they can use this tool, because in reality, I don't think it's been decided yet, and that'll be a discussion I have with him. It's been decided of what tool they're planning on using for any kind of research. So this could be something I could suggest that we started the work on, and just to let this information out in my discussion with Sonia, who's our public information officer. We started the discussion of how this market research tool was going to be used, and then we kind of stopped. So we're kind of paused right now because I want to talk to the consultant first. So hopefully these discussions with him will happen next week. He's out right now. So once he gets back, I'll have a discussion with him and see what the plan is for that market research, and if this tool is something that he would want to use. And that'll be something that I'll speak with the market research subcommittee and update them on once that discussion takes place, and if this is applicable. And most likely it is, but we'll see if this is something that he's open to using, or does he have a similar tool or something that he may want to use. So let me have that discussion first, and then I'll review it with the subcommittee.
Thank you.
And, oh, Commissioner Valadez, your hand is up, please.
Thank you. Director Hernandez, at the very end, you said, and hopefully this will be ready for council consumption in August, end quote. Can you describe for me what will be ready for consumption, like results of surveys, results of workshops, or a plan to commence workshops?
Sure. No. Everything should be done that this consultant will be contracted for in August. So that on their tentative schedule that they've shared with me already, they will be presenting this to council in some form. So, and I say August just because once we get into summer, sometimes council reschedules their meetings. They cancel the late July meeting or something like that. So I don't know what the agenda will look like, but it will be ready in August. I don't know when it'll actually go to council, but the whole package should be done by then.
Including a design?
Well, no, well, I think it will be a tentative design that could be ready by then, but I need to speak to him to get more details on the final product. So,
Thank you.
sure.
Okay, it looks like that's it for questions, clarifying questions from commissioners. So, Casey, do we have any public speakers on this topic?
We do still have members of the public in attendance, so I'm going to give them a second to raise a hand or say something if the hand raising function is, yeah, I don't see anyone.
I don't see any either. Okay, so
I think oh, no, Commissioner Valadez raised your hand.
right, and Commissioner, I just saw that hand too. Yes, so that's it. So Commissioner, so we'll close the public comment time with no speakers. So Commissioner Valadez, you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask this part. Director Hernandez, I get asked this question a lot because I had, you had mentioned before that the current dog park would be eliminated and moved over to the area north of the field. Specifically, what is the reason for closing that part, and maybe not just linking the two somehow, or having a tiny dog area and an all dogs area or something? What can I tell the public specifically? What is the reason for closing what I call the goal line dog park?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Valadez. All I can say on that was the plan as promised to the neighbors of that current dog park. That's really my knowledge of the reason for that. Is we put that as a temporary dog park, and to consider it temporary is when the permanent one goes in, and that's what was said. And that's really all I can say.
Okay. Any other questions? Any discussion? Anybody have anything they need to do about this? I'm not seeing any hands or anything. So I think that closes our item number 4. Moving on to informational items. Again, Director Hernandez, you're up.
Oh yeah, a lot of items here that I'm talking about. This one's real quick and easy. In-person commission meetings for information. The council, actually staff will provide more of an update once council discusses the going back to, or the types of going back to in-person commission meetings, which by state governor signature is happening, or I'm not sure if he had to sign anything or just let it elapse, which is happening at the end of this month. So our March meeting is scheduled to be in person. So I wanted to just make sure that the commission understood that. Now, how that will look to the public or to the commissioners is still somewhat up in the air to be discussed by council. But what we do know is our meetings will be in person. And when I say council needs to discuss it, I think they're just going to discuss if it will be hybrid or not hybrid, or select commissions will be hybrid or not hybrid. So I think that's where the discussion will be. But as for now, we can plan on going to in-person commission meetings at our March 8th, if I'm not mistaken, meeting. And that's my update.
Thank you. And I just one quick question. Do you know whether it'll be in council chambers, or do you have any idea where we'll be? I guess it won't be in Lacey.
No. We staff is recommending at this point, or will be recommending, that this commission will meet at the community center.
Okay, great.
It's not planned to be, but it will really, that's another thing that could be mandated by council if they change it.
Okay, and it'll be on our future agenda. So in March, it'll say at the top of the agenda where we'll be meeting.
Yes, and yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but what we've done in the past, and I think Donna, the previous director, did this as well, is some of the meetings will rotate to a different location, particularly Grant Park. So I know that when I was previously the liaison for this commission, we would do at least one, probably two meetings at Grant Park, and then the other two would be over here somewhere in this campus. So
great. All right, thank you. I just want people to be able to find us. So, all right. That takes care of informational items. That moves us on to our commission subcommittee reports. Does anybody have anything to report for their subcommittee? And we covered a few things already. We've that have to do with that. So the adult fitness, there was a meeting this week with Director Hernandez between Cindy and him, and I missed it. I wasn't well. So, but as a result of that, we had the presentation this evening. So I'll give that little update. Anybody else have anything? I'm not seeing it. Oh, yeah, Commissioner Valdez.
You and I are working on the next pop-up. We still need to meet with Manny a little bit more detail to find out about facilities for what we're planning. But, you know, slow progress, but we're making progress.
Right. Thank you. And I wrote down another idea for another pop-up tonight based on our little chess speaker. So, okay. And Vice Chair Corrigan, you have your hand up, please.
I was just going to mention that Commissioner Valadez and Chair Morris and I have been out observing the dog parks at McKenzie and Hillview to gather the research that the plan that Director Hernandez have laid out. So just so the public knows that we're out there routinely gathering that data.
And to that, I'll add the rain has put a little bit of a damper on the dog park usage because it's very wet. So there's not a lot being gathered when it's rainy and wet like that, but we're working on it. So I'm still looking even on those days, but surprise, surprise, nobody's there. So yeah, we are still working on that. Commissioner Ye, do you have anything? Yes, please.
Yeah, I just had a quick question as never having a larger dog in my life. What happens when it rains for like 3 weeks straight? How do you get your dog exercise?
I think Commissioner Veladez can answer that, but most people, I think, just run them in their yard if they have a yard, or take them out walking. Because right now the dog parks are a little too muddy for them to run in. Yeah.
I find if we don't walk them on the street, which we do, I find synthetic surface local dog parks and take them there. I don't typically take them there because they're usually really, really rife with urine, but the rains do a beautiful number on the surface when when it's rainy, so they're nice and clean. So my dogs go have fun, like over at the village right here at San Antonio Village.
Okay, any other updates? I have the performing arts and the, what's the other one? Community events. And I have reached out, to one staff person so far to get a meeting set up, about, I think it's performing arts. So I'm working on slowly getting my other meeting set up for that. So, and then Jedi, for me, what I had said, I'd work on getting somebody who has accessibility, can do some education on that. So I haven't managed to do that yet, but I'll still work on that outreach. So I don't see any additional hands for updates. So it looks like we move on to staff oral reports. And guess what? Director Hernandez, you're up.
If I can find the button, there it is. Okay, thank you, Chair Morris. So again, let me pull up the right screen.
Hey, Manny, I have a quick question. Is your
Sure.
calendar a calendar of, is that garbage?
No, it's machinery from
Oh,
Cat
okay.
Machinery, Peterson. What you're looking at is an industrial, massive forest industrial size chipper.
Oh, I gotcha.
You're seeing the chip, the wood chips. come
Yeah,
down
yeah, I see it
here.
now.
Yeah, as a log goes in.
All right.
So yeah, it's free calendar. So just put it up. Yes, thank you, Chair Morris. So the staff report, I'll go ahead and just update on the Redwood Grove. There is an unofficial trail right now that I think has been, I don't know if it was created by just people walking across it, or if somebody actually dug it out at some point, but there's a trail that we don't recommend people take because it's on the hillside. Apparently people are walking down from the hills into that trail to get into Redwood Grove. But it especially with the rains that we've seen recently, it does pose a danger, and we do have a sign that said it's not a trail. But we're just going to be putting up a split rail fence, a wooden split rail fence, to make it more obvious that it's not a trail, so people don't use that. This hopefully we'll see where this goes, but hopefully will be temporary, pending the creation of an official trail that the hills, Los Altos Hills, town of Los Altos Hills is working on, and I believe they have a trails committee or something like that are working on some plans with the city, or with the town, to build a trail that goes from the hills into Redwood Grove. So, but we'll see where they're at, and I'll bring updates as I receive them from Public Works. Our Public Works is advising them because they're coming into our city-owned area, open space, as they talk about plans for the trail. But as of right now, we really recommend to the public that they don't take that trail, especially with all the mud and the chances of people slipping. But we'll put a split rail fence to make it obvious. It's not something that's going to keep people out for sure. It's not a huge high chain link fence or anything. It should blend into the area that it's in. Should look pretty good. There's split rail fences all over Redwood Grove, all along the creek too. So if you want an example of what that's going to look like, but we'll put that there, and hopefully people are take safer paths into our Redwood Grove. So that's it for my oral report.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and can I say one more thing? Thank you to resident Jim Wing for bringing this to our attention. He's very helpful on a lot of these things. I've talked to him before. So thank you very much to that resident. Thank you.
Mhm. I was going to say, I met with Jim Wing also and walked the trail with him and saw what he was talking about, and I found that very helpful. So I do appreciate that he brought it to our attention as well. I think the next is future agenda items. Does anybody have anything that they would like to add to it? Yes, Commissioner Corrigan. No, Vice Chair Corrigan, please.
I was curious. I I don't think it's on the list, the Shout Park Playground design. And is there any update on what that process is right now, where it's at?
Chair Morris, can I give a quick update?
Yes, if that's allowable, please do.
Sure, I can give a quick update. I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. So we got behind on getting the work done. We're stepping into some of the design is done. It's done. I'm holding it right now. But we're not doing the whole thing all at once. And the plan was in late October, early November, but we got behind in our schedule to get this done. And then the rains came, or actually, once we had the field shut down too. We have that scheduled every year. So my crew who's doing the work, they were just a little bit busy. So, short story long, we're going to be doing it as soon as the weather gets better, because it's really muddy there. And now we found some issue with the bridge as well too. So we want to make sure that we're safe taking the equipment over and setting all that stuff up. But it's planned when it dries up.
Vice Chair Corrigan, that wasn't his question, Director Hernandez, I don't think. Do you want to ask your question again? I think
No,
it had to do with the park playground update.
Oh, I
could be
thought he
wrong.
meant
That's what I heard.
Playground. Yeah,
I thought Redwood Grove Playground.
Yeah,
I thought you were
sorry.
talking about the naturescape. Okay, so
Just the whole design process for the Shout Park Playground, just like for Hillview Dog Park, you know what I mean? What are the next steps for the Shout Park Playground?
sure. I apologize. I mistook the playground for playscape. So with that, we have a contracted consultant, a project manager, should I say, contracted project manager in engineering, and he's helping us with certain projects. This is one of them. So we're getting the information to him. We just got him on board, and that's a project that he'll be taking and running with. But we'll be doing it as soon as we can.
Thank you.
Okay, we got there eventually. Yes, Commissioner Ye.
Yeah, this could be something that our commission may consider, but I think it's more for maybe council. Some parents have been kicking around an idea that on Fridays and Saturday nights, and I brought this up with Casey, certain cities will provide supervised like movie or activity kind of night. So parents are able to drop off their kids so they can go out themselves or go out in groups. And this is something that I don't know if our city will consider it, but I just wanted to raise it.
Would you like it to be as a future agenda item so we can talk about it?
Well, that's a question. I don't know if that's something in our purview of our commission. I'm just not sure.
So Director Hernandez, would it be something if we future agendized it, we could discuss, or is this not for us?
It could be, but my response to Commissioner Ye and I actually brought in our recreation manager is that this would probably be a programming decision, and that we hadn't done this before, but it is a good idea. There are individual or like private organizations that do this as well, and knowing that there are other municipalities that do it is great. We could reach out to those organizations and kind of see how they organize it. So my response was that we probably would keep it internal, like on the staff side. But Manny, do you have another thought on that?
No, just to make it clean though, yeah, that it is a programming thing. It is a program that I've done in the past. It's a great program, and I can give you more information on that, Commissioner Ye. We can talk about that, but yeah, it is a programming issue because there is budgetary and staffing and other issues that are tied to that. So but I can talk to you about what's been done in the past, and Casey's correct. A lot of private agencies, I utilize it for my kids too at a gymnastics facility. So they do stuff like that, and it's a great program. We just need to build it up and stuff like that, and have a budget for it as well. So
would it be smart to have it as a agenda item though, to see if the commission wants to be part of that in any way? So, or would you just reach out to us if you need volunteers at some point if you move forward with it? Okay.
yeah, if
Okay.
it's something that the commission would want to be involved in once it becomes a program, if it becomes a program, I think then you can.
Kind of
talk.
like family fun days. Okay, okay, great, thanks. Okay. Any other future agenda item ideas? I would like to add something for International Women's Day. It is coming up really soon, so I'm not sure it can be organized that quickly, but which I think it's next month, but I was thinking for maybe next year. And there are groups that specifically look at how to plan a park for females, so that it's more teen female friendly and female friendly. So that's something that I'd like to add to the agenda if anybody else is interested in that, for maybe getting a speaker in or learning more about that. And that has to do with JEDI, obviously, but it also has to do with the International Women's Day. So it might be nice. So I guess on that topic for future agenda, looking at events that are coming up in the future and maybe planning some park related things for particular dates coming up. So International Women's Day we've got coming up. We have Arbor Day coming up. We have, other things like that, that park may be able to, our commission might be able to come up with some things planned for that. So I'm wondering if people have interest in having sort of date specific things like that. If we want to agendize a discussion about that. Anybody? I'm not seeing any interest on this one. Oh, Commissioner Valadez?
My only comment is that it's often difficult for me to understand where the line is between, staff just coming up with programming or park trying to initiate some community event or doing some outreach to find out if there's community opinion on a particular topic that might turn into programming. It's difficult to understand that line. So it's hard for me to respond to you to say, of course, I would absolutely believe that, if we're looking at our parks, we should understand how inclusive they are across all kinds of considerations. And then to come up with programs that help enable that. And also the public outreach to find out if, our residents are either interested in it or would benefit by education about it. I just don't know where that line is, so like we just discussed the prior topic on movie nights, for example, and Director Hernandez said that's really a programming thing. And I understand that, certainly there is that, but where's the line on other topics? I'm not sure.
Yeah, and even when I was suggesting it, I had that thought too. I was like, I wonder if this is even in our purview for somebody else. I guess, and I know that City Council member Nisa Flygor is with us, and I was thinking about like the movie night that got started, and I'm, like for Halloween, and I'm wondering, I think that was generated from the Park and Rec Commission originally as an idea. So could you help us out? Yeah. Director Hernandez.
Sure, I can help you. I was part of that, and yeah, that came from basically staff and commission working together. So if the commission suggested it, and this could go into anything, commission suggests something, staff will review, and as I've invited Commissioner Yee, that we can talk and see. So if this looks like something that looks good and is doable within the programming aspect, then we bring in more discussion on that. So yeah, it is a line that may seem a little bit blurred, but with that, I think if there's any programming aspect, if it's going to cost money and staff, it's a programming thing. If the commission thinks that it's something that they can do, I would recommend that you discuss it if you want to have something like that. So
Okay.
that's the way we've treated those things in the past. But yeah, if you're trying to tap into the staff and the city budget, the operating budget, that is a programming thing, but that doesn't preclude you from actually having a discussion for programming with staff.
Okay, great. And I can see that City Council member Nisa Flygor's hand is up, so maybe we can give her an opportunity to speak, Commissioner Valadez, and then come back to you. Okay.
Thank you, Chair Morris. And I just wanted to respond to your question about the movie night and how that happened. Director Hernandez is correct. It was a commission recommendation, and we agendized it for two reasons. One, to discuss which of our many parks we wanted to have the movie night, and then form a subcommittee so we would have volunteers who could show up, because it was in the evening, to help staff. And Manny showed up with his family the first night we did it. But obviously, because it's an evening, we didn't expect staff to show up. So it was really Manny, his family, and the subcommittee pulling it together. So I do think for some, and I completely understand, for some of these, you're not sure if it's commission driven, commission led, or staff, but there are things like the movie night where it originated with the commission. There was a reason for us to discuss it, because we had to decide which park and what movie. And then we worked directly with staff to make it happen.
Okay, thank you very much. Commissioner Valadez?
Yeah, I'm processing what Councilmember Flagler said. So, and what you said, Director Hernandez, as far as, you know, the impact, the fiscal impact on staff financially, and then also time-wise, that's a good delineator. So it occurs to me that there are community groups around the city that have already taken the initiative to create various social events. And I'm not talking about like a private birthday party. I'm talking social events where they invite the community publicly to come to join them. And many of them actually have delineations. And I'm thinking through the Jedi lens, have the topics tend to roam around cultural events and cultural experiences. And, you know, the ones that come to mind are the Bollywood dance group that has, you know, it's growing like crazy. And, you know, that started with a resident or a couple of residents. And so, you know, at some point it seems if it gets big enough, it could be, you know, instead of just having one night, you know, that maybe it evolves to become something more programmatic. Another thing that strikes me is, you know, Justice Vanguard has their movie nights. So that's another community initiated custom that is starting to get off the ground. And so to the extent that there are other opportunities in that realm, you know, the question is, do we just wait for an individual resident or a couple of residents to think up of an idea? Or is this something where the park could be the spark? Oh, I just made a rhyme. To come up with some other types of events that are either thematic, like International Women's Day, or more cultural, like a particular enjoyment practice in a given culture that could become educational for the city. So that's where my head is thinking. As far as, I don't have a specific topic for an agenda item, but I think the general topic of the park being a catalyst, kind of we're putting our pulse in the city to see where are the interest groups. Okay, now how can we take all those different interest groups and maybe bring them to broader exposure through you know, our city facilities and expose them to more residents. That's my goal. So that's where I'm thinking. Thanks.
Okay, so on the future agenda items, so I think based on the conversations, I mean, I think we could have something like Sparks in the Park conversation. Like, do we want to work on having have a future agenda item where we discuss potential theme-based events in the parks that might just bring more people into the park? So, okay, Vice Chair Corrigan.
Thanks, Chair Morris. I guess the one question I have with that, the concept is maybe we talk about the process. Otherwise we'll just have sort of here's a one-off idea from this group, and here's another idea, and how would we systematize this to just, here's a list of ideas, a backlog of ideas that we have, and let's go through those. I mean, I think a process discussion might be kind of interesting. Not that I have any evaluation criteria, but it'd be interesting.
It might becoming some kind of a clearinghouse for, or, you know, we do some combination of outreach and just acceptance of kind of putting our pulse out there on what community groups are doing. And, you know, there may be community groups that are doing something that they just want to stay private and they don't have any goals or desire for it to become more community oriented. But to the extent that we do find some activity, so maybe it might start with surveys or just outreach, or maybe putting out a bulletin saying, hey, if you have an idea, you've already started, maybe you have a small community group and you want to grow that community group beyond your friends, you know, give us a call and so it starts with some kind of outreach, and then it follows that up with some kind of assessment and prioritization, and then it culminates in the park deciding, well, we want to put our fingers on 2 or 3 of these over the next year or so, or next couple of years, and help this organization make them much more broad-based to the community.
Or think of it as they'd be helping
Process is key.
us as well. So a process discussion for the future agenda item. Anybody interested in that? Okay, we have 2. We have Commissioner Veladez and Vice Chair Corrigan. So let's add that to the agenda. If a future agenda item, if that's all right. Okay. Anything else for future agenda? And thank you all for taking what I suggested and running with that. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of this meeting. And it is 8:31 if I have the time right. And if everybody's good, I say we close it out and we see each other next month in person, it sounds like. That'll be nice to see you all that way. Thank you so much, Director Hernandez, for all the updates. And Casey, thank you for all you've done. And City Council person, Nisa Flagor, thank you for being here and for your input as well. And to the public who showed up tonight too. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.